Want to customize your Windows 10 desktop wallpaper and look as you please, and also get rid of that annoying watermark in the right bottom corner of your screen? Visit GoodOffer24 and use my promo code TACTIC for a discounted genuine Windows 10 license and activate your Windows today for good with a cheaper offer. Hi guys, Matthew here and welcome back again to my channel. Hope you like that intro. I think this mouse deserves it. The packaging is easy to handle and it's really cool, more so since this is one of the first, actually the first gaming mouse carrying the new PixArt 3370 19,000 dpi optical sensor. But that's not the only thing that this mouse has going on for it. This is the Makalu 67. You're now probably asking yourself what's up with this 67 number, but with taking a quick glance at it and noticing its hollow housing, you can easily guess why. Well, its weight is only 67 grams in total. You're also probably wondering what is this mounting brand. I've never heard of it. It's a German-based brand, maybe some of you actually did hear about it in one particular occasion, that being their Kickstarter campaign for their Everest modular mechanical keyboard. Hopefully I will be also getting my hands onto one, be sure to subscribe for that, but in the meantime they've developed the Makalu 67 and released it to the public. Although I did try a couple of sub 100 gram mouse models, this is my first time ever where I'm actually trying a sub 70 gram mouse. Others were more closer to 80 and 90 gram mark. It's kind of weird seeing and not seeing the mouse at the same time, because there are parts of it sort of like missing. It's cool nevertheless, looks like some kind of exoskeleton with this ribcage design, which is a bit different compared to other models. It's not just plain cutouts, but rather a combination of few things for achieving greater rigidity. You can see right through it. In the middle of it all there's a small custom PCB with mounting logo on it, carrying electronics and that PixArt's 3370 optical sensor. At this point, going any lighter wouldn't probably make a big difference, not at least to me I think, and I feel like shape becomes more important than the weight once you cross a certain threshold, and that could be around this 60 to 70 gram mark. Despite being a light mouse, the Makalu 67 still has a pretty bulky volume. Shape-wise you could put it next to your regular gaming mice. The funny thing is that, although being completely hollow and barebone, the outer shell is actually really rigid. Pressing it from the top and the sides doesn't introduce any obvious flex. It has a water-repellent PCB coating, while the surface texture is basically completely plastic and pretty smooth, but it still provides enough grip. Design-wise it's pretty straightforward, the branding is minimalistic, and the thing that mostly stands out are the way the cutouts were designed, together with the RGB ring placed between the left and right mouse click, separating the scroll wheel, and holding inside of it 4 white LEDs for DPI level indication, as well as a DPI switch on this glossy surface. On the left side of the mouse we have these big back and forward switches with a sort of like grey metal brushed finish to them, and they're probably the most distinctive part of the mouse until you plug it in and let the RGB light show out of it. Just below them you can see that we have that same cutouts coming from the back of the mouse to this front, but the material is actually not completely removed, the panels are closed. They said it so to provide more grip, although they could probably also go without them for possibly even more weight reduction. I don't feel like it would affect the grip level since it's already indented to begin with. Speaking of the switches, behind their covers you'll find Omron's 50M switches. We have a total of 6 of them, including the middle mouse click on this rubberized scroll wheel, which is really quiet but with very distinct movement between each step, while the others are firmly placed, but you don't actually need a lot of force to press them. It feels really precise, and all of them are programmable as you'll see later on, but first let's hear how they sound. Turning it onto its back, you can see that the bottom surface also gets trimmed down.
Weight reduction, bro.
We have the sensor in the middle and around it 100% PTFE mouse feet, which are easily replaceable. There's this indent so you can grab and pull them out without any additional effort, and mounting will actually provide you with 2 extra ones. Before I jump over to performance, let's take a deeper dive into its software utility, since this is a completely new brand in question, and I always love to take a better look on a new company's take when it comes to that. Starting it up, you have this sort of like a home screen tab which opens up first, showing your devices, similar to Logitech's G Hub, while they've also implemented some quick links and tabs to website, latest updates, and their social media channels, which kind of feels a bit overwhelming considering that's not what you came for initially, but could come in handy, although I doubt it will be that often. Finally, clicking the device tab will get you to the main event in question. Here on the left you have a total of 5 sub-menus spanning from profile setups, where you can set up to 5 different profiles, you can import and export them, load them as a certain game comes on, and yes, the active profile stays saved on the mouse itself, so you can jump over to different devices. Next up is the RGB lighting effects, where you will have your usual set of effects on your disposal. Then we have key bindings and macros, which somewhat ties onto each other. Here you can either remap the keys to a different action or create a set of actions, very easy to set up. Last but certainly not the least is the settings menu, where the main action is. Starting off with simpler things, here you can check and update the firmware of the device. You can set up to 5 different DPI levels in 50 DPI increments, and you can jump from one to another using that dedicated switch. Next up is the pulling rate, ranging from 125 to 1000 Hz, sensitivity of the cursor, double click speed, and button response, or how long does it take for the signal to be sent to the PC when you press a button. Finally, we have an on and off mode for angle snapping and low and high lift-off distance setting. Gathering my thoughts on what I actually saw and experienced with this utility, I really like how they laid it all out. Everything was pretty intuitive, although there is a lot of options at your disposal. There were some minor hiccups and bugs along the way, but they seem to be working on it regularly to polish all of that out. Okay, now with everything out of the way, how does the mouse actually perform? Just to be clear, I'm not a professional FPS player, but I know a thing or two about popping an enemy. Back in my day, there wasn't a mouse or PC, you would have a stick and you would play with mud. Anyhow, the mouse is extremely responsive and precise. I've personally never had anything like this in my hand. I've compared it back to back with my G403 in few games, used them both on the glorious Extended Stealth Edition mousepad and in few different games and Kovac's Aim Trainer. The difference in performance can easily be picked up going from one mouse to another. I could really feel the advantages of going over to a sub 70 gram mouse, plus of course this new sensor. There is no unwanted acceleration or jitters, random movements or spinouts. Where you put it, it will go there instantly. Basically, I couldn't find anything to complain about it in that regard. The new PixArt's 3370 sensor performance is on point. The difference between low and high lift-off distance setting is also pretty obvious. I kept mine at low in the end, and with it the movement of the cursor and crosshair is constrained in a pretty tight space when moving the mouse up and down from the surface. Being a wired mouse, doing flick shots and sudden movements with it could sometimes result in cable pulling the mouse back and unwanted retention of it if the cable is too stiff and heavy, but I'm happy to report that's not the case with the Makalu 67, as it uses this what seems to be an ultralight paracord cable, which makes using it almost feel like borderline wire-free, especially if you plan to use a bungee. Of course, performance won't mean a lot if the mouse doesn't suit you comfort and ergonomic wise. Obviously, it's a right-hand only design, so it won't be interesting to a portion of users from the get-go. Putting that aside, I'm a palm grip style of user, and this mouse is for my fairly average size hand, just the right shape and size. It's actually a larger example of a gaming mouse in this class, with a total length of 127mm and 70mm of width, or around 58 to 60mm where the palm meets the mouse, so I feel like it's more suitable for that palm grip style in my case, while it seems like the claw grip style would be more doable for users who have a bit larger hands. One thing that also goes in hand with the ergonomics is the fact that the mouse is pretty evenly balanced in weight, not that it has a lot of it to begin with, but again, it's not leaning on being heavier on one of the sides, making it even more maneuverable. The competition is really fierce in this segment, no doubt about it, and when you dial in all the core things that makes a gaming mouse great, the details then begin to surface and they then become the most important and differing factor in making your final purchasing decision. With everything seen here, I feel like Mountain with the Makalu 67 managed to do just that, got a lot of things right, which is pretty impressive when you consider that this is one of their first product ever. That's it for this time from me. Thank you once again for watching. Please take a second to toss me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my content, that really helps a lot. And if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe, and if you already are, be sure to press that notification bell down below so you don't miss out on a new video. And until then, catch you later guys.